What is fashion? Fashion has many interpretations. Many people talk about it in many different ways. It's like an interview question. Tell me about yourself. We all talk a lot about ourselves, but we never get the right answers. Fashion is something like that. It's a second skin. A skin that talks about what we want to be, what we are, or what we could be. It is a skin that can be removable and changed every day, like a mask. That's how fashion interprets itself. It helps people tell them about themselves, tell them what they want to be, portray themselves as how they want themselves to be in front of different people. For different people, we all wear different masks. If that's not fashion, then what is? Everyone's life is a journey. A journey which we all have to walk. And when we walk this journey, we face a lot of problems, a lot of hurdles, and probably it might even hurt our feet as we walk across with our empty feet. So for me, fashion has also been a journey like that. You're never born with a stamp saying that you're a fashion designer or you're an architect or an engineer. It is what makes us of it. The surroundings, the people who influence us, our neighbors, our parents, our relatives. They all influence us to become what we are. And so, even my journey has about been the same thing. I was born in Bangalore, purebred Bangalorean. I love the city, mainly because of its beautiful climate. And as you go on, you learn new things, you meet new people, you make new friends. And the journey is just going on. Till about the teens, you're not even sure what you want to do. You have many things. You watch TV and you want to become a super doctor. Or sometimes you watch a movie and you want to become a superhero to probably fly the MiGs across the Pakistan border. You never know. And like that, many of our dreams also kept changing. But what really triggered me, why I wanted to come into fashion, was I was always into the creative fields. I was doing a lot of drawing competitions, representing my school, representing my college. But around the time 1997, 98, Fashion TV launched for the first time worldwide. And when I saw the channel, I said, "Wow, this is what I want to be." So when Fashion TV was launched, I used to sit up straight. I wanted to watch every show. It was mostly 5-minute clippings. What all the fashion designers were presenting. I never wanted to be a model, but becoming a designer, I think that's where the dream started. I passed out of school. Of course, I wanted to be an artist as well, but I didn't have the support from my family to be an artist. Of course, it was all in their own goodwill and their own structure. They wanted me to have a safe and reliable life. And then I was wondering, what else can I be? My second best option was definitely to be a designer. Get back into my field, get back into the art, go to the pure arts, test myself, do the most beautiful things. Beauty amazed me. So on that journey, I think is where it started. As soon as I finished 10th standard, NIFT had just launched in Bangalore very recently, and I wanted to know if I could join NIFT immediately after 10th standard. So we went to the NIFT headquarters in Bangalore, and we found out that I could probably do a 1-year diploma course or something, but not the regular degree course. I had to finish my 12th. It was a little bit of a depressing moment, but hell, it was just 2 years wait. And then I finished 2 more years of my life, and at the age of 18, once I passed out of my 12th, I did try for NIFT. The entrance exam was very tough. In fact, it took me almost 3 tries to finally get into NIFT, and also a lot of convincing to my family members, in between which I even finished a computers degree, and I even had a job in hand to campus placements. And that's when I realized that I had gone through in NIFT with flying colors as well. Now, this was an opportunity I did more or less. The very first day I was supposed to join for the job, I quit the job. I sent out a mail saying that I'm going for further studies and I'm really sorry. And then coming into NIFT the very first day was suddenly like a dream come true. It was a beautiful campus in somewhat the outskirts of the city at the time, surrounded by greenery. Not a very huge campus compared to the other traditional colleges, but it was a quiet little place with lush greenery around and the old Bangalore weather which I've grown up to love. And as soon as I entered, I realized this is the place I want to be. The faculties were not the traditional faculties with a solid colored shirt and a formal trouser. We had faculties coming in Bermuda shorts and Hawaiian shirts with long hair and probably tikas. And there was art everywhere. We were surrounded by art. The campus walls were pasted with art. We were sitting and doing a lot of drawing. But one thing I did realize getting into NIFT, it was actually a lot easier just to get in. The fight started when you actually get into the place and you need to survive. Survival was very, very tough. As much as it was beautiful, there was a lot of expectations by our faculties. In fact, there were faculties who would grind me night and day. There were many times I had to keep redoing my assignments just to make sure I got through the semesters. But somehow we fought it out. We had a good time, we had the best times and we had the worst times. We made the best friends and we made the worst friends. And then somehow we fought it out. We had a final collection which was presented in Hotel Lalit Ashok. It was probably the second part of my dream just coming true, to go on stage. For 4 years, we didn't really do much of fashion, but rather we were learning fashion. And at the end of 4 years, it was going on stage with your best creations. And that day was probably one of the most beautiful moments of my life. The choreographer, although we were about 35 designers showcasing our designs, the choreographer loved my designs. And I think that's where my journey into fashion outside of college started. The choreographer came back to me later on. He said, I love your designs and we do a lot of shows. Would you like to showcase your designs? Even after NIFT, I had a job. But then I realized I wanted to do my own creations. I wanted to create my own beautiful world. And I was wondering how to go about it. I had no business acumen. I'm definitely not great at marketing even today. There was a lot of pressure from family members, from relatives, from friends. They said you need to get into a job, you need to understand the industry, try to see what works and what doesn't work, see how the companies market themselves, how to go about doing a business. But then I didn't want to be restricted actually. I didn't want to be restricted by rules, marketabilities. I was still an artist at heart. I just wanted to make beautiful creations. I wanted to showcase my creations to the world without even knowing what direction to go about doing it. I just started making beautiful stuff. And it's been a 10-12 year journey. And in between, when there was a lot of financial pressure as well, I got married to one of the most beautiful women who on the very first day told me, I will stand by you and I want your dreams to come true. I think this is the right kind of woman that every person needs to get married to. The woman who is not your wife but your better half. And she has also stood by me for the last 8 years. And although it's been a very slow and arduous journey, we've been walking up and slowly we've been climbing up the ladders with some of my latest collections where I've been testing myself and I've been trying to make better and more beautiful things, more skillfully applicable things. It has been gaining a lot of attention. We've been doing a lot of collabs. We've been working with a lot of models, a lot of fashion shows approaching us. And slowly we have started getting busy. Of course, there were the dull moments. I wouldn't blame businesses have not been the same in the last few years. Uh, the COVID came and hit everyone very badly. It was a great time with family where we did spend a lot of quality time with family, but suddenly we went back 5 years. And now we are building back our tracks. I think this is the story with every business, I guess. And now I just realized that this is not where I should stop. Let's not just restrict ourselves, trying to be marketable, trying to make sellable designs. Instead, be best at what you are. Just keep going in the journey what you are. It is always tough. The journey you choose to be is never easy. But the moment people know this is what this creative person can do and this is what his speciality is, this is his style sense, then nothing can stop you. You automatically start getting recognized and you just start climbing the ladders. So never ever stop doing that. Be best and always improve on what you are. Don't be a jack of all trades. Be the master of that one trade that you are really good at. And that's how every person's individuality will come into the foray. A person will get recognition. The first difficulty happens when you have chosen your field. Most of your best friends, your relatives, your father, mother, grandfather, they all have some idea as to what you want to do. And suddenly, what happens? You've just given them a shot. And that's exactly what happened in my life also. Although I wrote my entrance exam 3 times, the second time I wrote I didn't pass, but I had already joined my computer science degree. And my father never wanted me to get into this. But he gave me an option. He said, if you finish the degree, then we can think about it. So when I was in my 3rd year, I again wrote the entrance exam. I got through with flying colors and somehow he got convinced because he gave me the option he could go back on his work. Friends, there were many friends who support you and who also rebuke you. There are some friends who say, knowing you, being a creative person, this is what you should be doing. And then there are also friends who tell you, why do you want to be a tailor? But that never put me down. After all, what are fashion designers? We just glamorize tailors. We are, simply put, tailors with a design edge. We are tailors who are able to think and try to think to the next level as to what might look beautiful with my skills in hand. This is what was also taught to us in NIFT. Even NIFT was never easy. They always treat you like a child. They treat you like you don't know anything, which I've always felt was wrong. And it's not about how you can make things which work, but it's about how you can make beautiful things. What are you best at? It's about developing oneself. And that was one fight I went through, even as a student, even as my own self, testing myself at every stage. At every stage, something or the other puts you down. People don't react to your aesthetics the same way that you want them to react. But you can't blame people for that. Different people have different tastes. Different people want you to make something according to their taste, and you can keep some people happy all the time, or you can keep all the people happy for some time. You can't keep all the people happy for all the time. So as a designer, when I was in NIFT, one thing that I was conditioned into was a designer is not an artist. An artist makes what he believes is beautiful. An artist puts forth his thought processes. But a designer puts himself into the shoes of his client and makes beautiful things in the way they want it or better than they want it. This was conditioned into us. Took me a lot of time to realize that. I think probably after almost 5-6 years of passing out of NIFT and getting into the field, took me a lot of time to realize art sells, but design surely sells. Design is about a solution. It's about giving solutions to a problem. It's about coming up with aesthetic solutions to problems. And this was something I realized, or took me to realize, almost a decade after passing through it. After jumping into the field without any background business acumen, without any ideas, just trying to put forth my ideas to people. But at the same time, don't lose yourself. It's the same thing with family as well. The moment you start making beautiful things the way you want things to be, one of your family member might say it's beautiful, another family member might say, how are you going to earn money out of this? What are you going to do? I think in the old Hindi movies, you would have seen these artists wearing kurtas and pajamas and carrying one chola, going around trying, painting billboards. He might be a wonderful artist, but he's still painting billboards, and that's how people are going to treat you. And that's exactly what we all go through. But a lot of people who rebuke you during your bad times are also going to stand by you at your best times. So the best thing to do with it is, do not get emotionally pulled down by what people tell you. Rather, be ready to struggle through your life. And this is what fashion is all about. And fashion, people think it's glamorous. It's about those 5 minutes on stage where the designer walks up on stage and takes a bow and everyone gives a standing ovation. But what goes behind those 5 minutes is sometimes years and years of hard labor. It's about planning, it's about processes, it's about making beautiful stuff on the background. Probably even in a dingy workshop, you might have a lot of money and put up a AC workshop, or you might have little money and you might put yourself in a shed. Nobody bothers about what happens in that shed or in that AC workshop when you come on stage, because all that is visible to the public is about what comes on stage. So through this entire process, you have a lot of people telling you a lot of things. You might have your own team telling you this is not right, it's not good, it's not great. But you know what comes on stage. You know how you want to present it. You know what your design sensibilities are. Never get down on that. And life is always like that. No matter how great you are, you always have that best friend coming and saying, "Or tailoring shop kaise chal raha hai?" You have a lot of clients who want your designs, but the moment they get a call, "I'm at the tailor shop, can you please call back later?" That's what people say. But don't let your ego come down. After all, like I said, who is a designer? A designer is a glamorous tailor. A designer is a person who has some design aesthetics and sensibilities given into them, along with a tailoring job to make beautiful creations. Skills are very important. When I was studying in NEFT, it was about 8 hours a day of stitching, couple of hours in between where you're doing patterns, many times going off without your lunch and dinner also sometimes, working overnight, trying to take permissions, convincing the security guards to keep the lab open for an extra 2 hours. Sometimes you even bribe the security guards doing that. For another 2 hours you pay him 100 or 200 bucks just to keep the lab open for you. The special treatments, the extra permissions. That's how design is. For the 5 minutes of glory, you spend months or sometimes years of going behind in the workshop, spending that extra time, putting that extra efforts to make sure your things come out right. A designer should also be a perfectionist, and a perfectionist to the last detail. You should even be worrying about that one little button. And that's not easy. Being a perfectionist is not easy. Convincing a perfectionist is also not easy. Convincing yourself is not easy. And that's how a designer's life is, and it's supposed to go. If someone is not doing their design processes or is not giving enough thought into your design, then enough design has not gone into your design. And then you have customers also coming and saying, they ask you to do something. But customers cannot visualize or picturize how their design is going to be. So after it's done, they're going to tell you, I didn't like this. This is not what I pictured to be. So these things you will learn out of experience. These things you will learn out of hard moments in life. When you're expecting a gratitude for your design and you don't get it, it hits you hard. And this is how life goes on. But as it's also a journey, it's a growth, it's something that you walk on, and at some point you start learning few things, you start inculcating few things, and that's how designers get lucky. That's how designers get successful. As you learn, as you implement, as you understand new things, you just keep getting better and better. As people pull you down, if you're strong enough, if you're strong-willed, you stand up, you stand harder, you build your muscles and you start growing harder. But never lose out on what you are as a designer. Every designer has a specialty. For example, I love making patterns. Practically speaking, this is a tailor master's job, but I just love that feel doing those patterns so much. I think that's where I've specialized myself into, and that is why people come to me. They come to me and say, make something different, make something beautiful, go ahead and experiment, go ahead and do something that we haven't seen. I just don't want a dress from you. I know what I'm coming for you for. If I wanted a dress, I'll go to the nearby tailor. I've come to you because I know you can do something different, something where you have experimented, where you have put in a lot of effort. I've even worked with a lot of students. Students come to me with their designs, or sometimes they come to me for consultation and they ask me, "So no, many people have not been able to do. Do you think you can do this?" Don't waste their time, but at least given a thought how to do this. And that's where new creations come into place. Designers become creators. Designers are able to play God. But don't keep racking your brain over it for the next 2 months where probably the event also has passed away. But given the time, or put the person to forward themselves to a person who can do it better than you. Or if you can do it, think about how best you can do it. Don't think about just how you can do it. Think about how best you can do things and how you can make it better. That's where a designer is one step ahead of a tailor. He's a glamorized tailor. That's why I keep saying it's a glamorized tailor. And a person will be known for walking his path. So when I decided to take up fashion design, it was a very tough, decision to take. Mainly because, for a guy getting into fashion design from South India, where you have people doing engineering, medical and business, management, it's not easy to get into a field which not many people have heard of, or they think it's just an artistic field which might not generate much revenue. So the revenue part is where a lot of people were against it. Initially, I think it was my own family who did not support very much, although my mother supported a bit. She said, it's okay, let the boy do what he wants, but my dad was a little against it. I think I wrote my NIFT exam thrice, the first time when I was in my 12th, but it was a tough exam, I didn't get through. Second time I wrote, I got selected, but I was in my first year of degree, and my father told me to just finish the degree and then go for the fashion design. So I just left the seat at that time. When I was in my third year of degree, again I wrote the exam. In fact, I came out with flying colors than the previous attempt. And luckily, I had also finished my degree, so he somehow agreed. It was a trade-off. He said, if you finish your degree, I will allow you to do it. So it was more like a trade-off. So those were the initial days of difficulty. Then you have your friends and family too. Some of your friends laugh at you, and some people they say, you're a creative person. I think you're doing the right choice. You have a lot of friends who say both the things. But that wasn't much of a difficult thing, to take care of. And as we went through, you have a lot of family members and relatives saying that this person is in a creative field, and they want to say all kinds of rubbish about you. and they say things like he's a drug addict and he's a womanizer. But somewhere deep down, it didn't really affect me much, mainly because I actually kind of loved that limelight. And as we go on, then came out the part of where you start your career in life. And again, family first said, why don't you take a job, do it for a few years. But the business was what affected me all the time. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Uh, so I still jumped into the foray. There were a lot of difficulties. I think I started a small business with another girl at that time. Uh, so every time we needed some financial backup, we did get a few orders. We were doing some manufacturing orders as well. But whenever we needed some backup money for payment and things like that, it was one hell of a thing to trying to convince your family and say, you just it's okay. You need to keep the cash cow rolling. But it's not easy for everyone to understand that problem. The first 4-5 years was okay. I opened a small space in Richmond Road. The orders were flowing. Never really got the time to do my collections. Of course, you always have the good and bad clients. You can keep some people happy all the time, or you can keep all the people happy all the time. But you can't actually make everyone happy all the time. So it's a trade-off. There were a few clients who even treated you like a tailor, and they said, I'm at the tailor shop and things like that. Of course, it hurt your ego a little bit, but your designer is always a glamorous tailor. And as we went on, I got married, and I was very lucky to get married to a very supportive woman who said, what do you do, what you want, I will completely support you, I will do what I can for you. And that was, I think, a turning point where we saw a new dimension. We took off the tailoring unit, we shifted to our old family business, which was placed in MG Road. Here, of course, my family supported me a lot because it was a family business that we were running in the space. And my father said, you can use the space, don't worry, at least the rental overheads won't be troubling you much. So that was one lucky area. And financially, to run the unit and to run the show, I think my wife and my father-in-law helped us a lot. They stood together, they really promoted me, and they said, how would you work it out? Talk to us about your financials. What do you need to run a business? And I think here is a point where my father-in-law really stood by me, and he said, I will help you out, you just go ahead and do what you want. MG Road, in terms of the business, was not one of the best decisions because I think I lost a lot of good orders being in MG Road, but there's always a silver lining. It's never a good thing to get depressed and put yourself down. It gave me a lot of time to work on a lot of good collections which are being appreciated by a lot of people today. It's getting noticed by a lot of people, and I love it when people say, we just love your collection, can we do a fashion show, or can we do a shoot and things like that. So there was always a silver lining there, and this journey in MG Road has been almost about 5 years now, and it's been one hell of a journey where we've done 2 or 3 really good collections. Of course, with the complete support of my wife and my father-in-law. And from here on, I think in the next couple of months, we're also starting off on a new journey. We are opening our own design store in Indiranagar, and we're opening a signature store, more or less, we can say, because that's going to be entirely our own space. So let's see. I hope the new adventure is much more better, much more fruitful, and I hope it gets more exciting from here.